Good morning, Nelson County. Happy Tuesday, and welcome to the Community Brew Live. We are excited that you are here this morning. We have an awesome panel set up here for you guys, and I'm excited to be a part of the conversation this morning. So, without further ado, I'm going to toss it over to Robin McCoy and let her introduce our panelist.
Hey guys, good morning. First, I got to give a shout out to Jonathan and Victoria. Yesterday, Jonathan made my legs shake as I was walking around, and now Victoria has made my arms shake. So thank you for those workouts. I had to have a quick break before we got started here to get myself a little presentable. I was sweating. But yeah, thank you for those wellness workouts in the morning. Anybody interested in joining us, it's 8 o'clock to 8:30. So it's a good time to get your mind and your body in the right place before we start the day. So, and that actually introduces us into this conversation today as we think about the gifts of people and we think about the humanness of each one of us. And chapter 2 of Deep Learning, as you know, we've been diving deep into the book of Deep Learning. And today we're going to look at chapter 2 while our students share with us how it really comes to life. So again, chapter 2 of Deep Learning really dives into what is deep learning, and then how is the basic of who we are as human beings in our development, how that comes to the forefront of how then we arrange to educate and make plans and things. And so a few things have come to life over the last year or so, and that is houses and families and caring connects. So those are different terms that we use. They mean a little bit of different things, but those have really come to life over the last few years at a couple of our schools, and really this past year, and then as we look forward to the future. And I tell you, those are three mechanisms that really drive what it means to reach the basic human needs that we have in caring and connecting with one another. And of course, it comes across through instruction in our everyday classrooms, and even in our hallways and our cafeterias and our just really any environment that's very cultural for education. So without further talking about that, because I could talk about it all day, is I'm going to introduce our students. And really, I'm going to let them introduce themselves as they answer some questions for us. So these are 8th graders from Bloomfield Middle, OKH, and Boston, who have experienced houses, who have experienced families, who have experienced Care and Connect. So they have the really the foresight or the insight of looking at what happened in the past and then what they look forward to in the future. So high schools, get ready. These are some amazing 8th graders, and I'm excited for you guys to take them on. And then Boston, Bloomfield Middle, and OKH, I know you guys are mourning the really the release of your 8th graders to high school as you welcome in your new 6th graders. So without that, I'm going to ask the question to our 8th graders. What did it look like to really experience houses, families, Care and Connects? And we talked a little bit about the gifts of people, but really, what did those experiences look like to you all? How did it make you feel? Things like that. So over to you all, students.
Well, my name is Samantha, and I go to Boston. And so my experience is kind of like everyone at Boston is just so welcoming, and in our families, we kind of just like we talk every day. Well, we used to during school, and we just talk like if someone had like was having a bad day, or if they just were having a great day and they wanted to just tell everyone what was happening and stuff, then they would kind of just share, try to make everyone else's day better, or everyone would try to make their day better. And so we'd have like it's a president of the of your family is what we had, and I was the president, and I kind of just like told, okay, so today we're going to be basing our class today off of this question. And so, yeah, that's kind of what we did in our family. So.
Awesome. Thanks, Samantha.
Hi, I'm Emily, and I go to OKH. And Care Connect kind of looks like we have themes for each day. So we base an activity or a game around those days. And then on Fridays, we get together as a whole house, and we have a competition to see which Karen Connect would get like a spirit stick.
Thanks, Emily. What about you, Jacob or William?
My name's Jacob, and I go to Bloomfield, and we would like every day talk. Like it would be every grade. We would talk and like learn about how their experience was going and how their year was going, and we would talk about stuff that's happening in the real world and current event stuff.
Well, my name's William, 8th grader from Boston. Well, former 8th grader. I'm about to go to high school, obviously. But in our families that we have at Boston, it kind of depends on which family you go to, what you do for the day. Like, for example, in my family, we would discuss real world issues that really matter to us, and we get to interact and actually get to know each other.
Thanks, Jacob. Thanks, William. So you heard the students talk a little bit about the welcoming, talking to one another, connecting with each other, sharing what's going on in their lives, what's going on in the world around them. I love that they said, I think William and Jacob, I think you both said, real world issues that really matter. And so getting in there and really thinking through how you care for one another through sharing in your gifts and how diversity comes to play, because we're all different when we come to these small groups. And then talking about things that really matter to us, while also welcoming the different perspectives. So I'm going to open this up. This could be a wild card here, but Samantha and Jacob and William and Emily, what were maybe some memorable experiences you all had with caring and connecting with one another?
Well, I certainly remember we used to around like the January time when we almost had a World War III. We started talking about that. I still remember that. And then we started talking about this outbreak thing, like towards before we started to go to do online school, and we got to know a lot more about this stuff. That was actually pretty interesting.
That's awesome, William. And thinking through, guys, if we don't think these things are affecting our kids, and I know we're all educators, so we know it is, but it really is. And that's powerful to say that you had the opportunity to really talk through it with your peers and through an adult leader that's standing there beside you and walking the path with you.
Something that was memorable for me is that one time, during January, kind of like William said, but not kind of like he said, we had a sleepover with all the girls, all the middle school girls, and so yeah, that was kind of fun and memorable. That's something I most likely won't forget because just that doesn't happen every year. So it was really fun. So yeah.
Yeah, I remember your leaders talking about that event. It was about 50 some girls that came together, middle school girls came together at Boston and really loved on each other and said, like, we are a sisterhood. We're going through this together. Let's care for each other. Let's connect with one another. And you all spent the night at Boston just, loving on each other, learning about one another. It was powerful to see that event transpire. And I know there was tons of fun, including some spa, facials, things like that. So that's cool. Thanks, Samantha. What about you, Jacob or Emily?
Like one of the most memorable things for me is the first year we did Karen Connect. My Karen Connect made a game up, and it was really fun. And then we also got to make shirts during the outbreak when we were at home doing school, and it was pretty fun.
So one of the memorable things for me is like we all got together and like we rearranged our teacher's room for her, and we all talked about what was going on around the time and got together and like thought of some solutions of like how we could fix it. And yeah, that's one of the most memorable things for me.
Yeah, student leadership in both of those areas from Emily and from Jacob. These kids, they have a voice, they have a desire to be a part of how we think about things. And it's powerful to see that you all share those experiences, but then also experience them and show your leadership. do these events, we're really touching the hearts of kids. So I'm going to throw this out there. Just one more question to the kids before we ask our staff panel to weigh in on some things. But what do you think it means to be a community? What would you say that answer is?
To me, community, I feel like it's like a feeling of friendship with others, or like just sharing like different interests that you have together, but still being together as like a whole, like if that makes sense, and like everyone caring about each other, and like you fit in, in that group, like even if y'all all have different like different backgrounds or different just interests, then like you fit in and you feel like you belong. So
Samantha, I couldn't have paid you for a better answer. That sense of belonging is what you're talking about. It's awesome. It's so powerful. Yes, yes, ma'am. What about Emily, Jacob, or William? What do you all think? What does it mean to be a community?
I think being a community means like having togetherness in a space, and you don't have to like everybody in that space, but you just would have to have each other's back and make sure that that community isn't broken apart in some way.
I feel like a community is when you make a bond together, like a family bond that can't be broken, because like you all get along and you all have like you all talk and you just like get along really good together.
I think that being a community means that, similar to what everyone else said, you can actually you can interact with people. You can if you go past their differences, you can actually work together. You can, if you have people, if you that's basically it. You can be together as a whole and work through things. That's my version of community.
Yeah, absolutely. You heard it from them first, I tell you. We always say the phrase, together we can. And if those students just didn't embody that, and I promise you, I did not coach them through those answers, that together we can, that sense that all of us have to have that connectedness. It's rooted within us, even our introverts. It's rooted within us to connect with one another and have this togetherness. So thank you so much, students, for sharing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Robin, before you go on to our staff leaders and the panel, I wanted to hop over to the chat and share some love with our kiddos that we have here on YouTube chat. So, Miss McGlone's giving you some shout outs, Samantha. She said you are an amazing leader in your family at Boston. Let's see. Steve Mahoney says, Jacob, I'm his favorite. So I don't know. You all might have to take that up later. Sean Smith is on here from Thomas Nelson. He said, we are so excited to get our incoming Thomas Nelson High School ninth graders into our Care and Connect in-house families. Let me keep scrolling. Dana Cole, she said, we have seen such phenomenal growth in our students in terms of leadership and overall care for one another around the world. Let's see. Michelle Hendricks said, William, I feel like I'm home. I love these Boston kiddos. Jessica Sparrow, I love getting to hear from the students this morning. Haley Victory. Somebody just commented and I lost the comment. Oh, there it is. It is amazing to hear how these students are leading and planning for their houses and families. They are making this experience exactly what it needs to be. Let's see. Miss Case from OKH says, yes, Emily, pass the moose. Ha ha. I feel like that's a little inside joke there. That's the beauty of Karen Connects. There's lots of little special like memories and jokes, and that's what I love to see. Even though sometimes it just doesn't make any sense, you know. Kelsey Berryman, she said that bond is like magic, knowing you have a group of people there for you. So lots of love over in the chat for our student leaders this morning.
Thanks, Brooke, for sharing that. Yeah, we definitely see through these three mechanisms of houses, Care and Connect, and families. Student leadership is, is really at the forefront of that work. So awesome! Thanks, guys. I'm going to switch over to our staff panel now. Just ask them some questions as we think about the book and deep learning, what it talked around, or what it talked about regarding gifts, or they use the word skills or competencies. So staff, what does it look like in chapter 2, or how is really this connection around the gifts of people, how is that being fostered, and how does chapter 2 really talk about that?
I think with ours at Boston, we have families. That's our Care and Connect. And this is our second year that we've had smaller gender-based families. And I feel like one of the things that really works for us, especially in the K at school, in our school community, we get to know our kids so well. And even though I'm middle school and watching these kids grow, and we're still developing and trying to figure out what their gifts are, just as they're trying to figure out what their gifts are. But I feel like that we are trying to work on those competencies of building the gifts, trying to figure out what their gifts are, and giving them the opportunities to figure them out or strengthen their gifts by having those small groups. And like William said, those discussions, or Samantha said, when somebody's having an issue, that they feel comfortable talking to that smaller group, their family, about those issues, or that they're concerned about one of their family members, because they can tell that they're not having a good day, and to build that character and strengthen some of those skills of citizenship. So some of the things that, like what my family does, we try to work on, and some other families do as well, to build that citizenship and to offer service opportunities, whether it's service in our school community. Some of our families have offered their service through the Boston community, where they have as you enter Boston, the Boston sign, to repaint it. We've had families to build our food pantry, and even our younger families in our elementary end to fill that up. And then the whole community has continued to let that grow. Some other families have worked on sending packages to service members during the holidays. Feed America. My family has completed or worked up the Love the Hungry project that is in Martin Luther King Day, that they have angel trees. We just try to build that citizenship, build their character, and foster that growth of finding what is your gift, to I guess incorporate into the families and to grow from there. So we're still working on things and trying to figure things out, but really trying to learn our students and value or find their values in that smaller community within our individually small Boston community, as it is anyway.
Hi, I'm Amber Irvin from OKH, and first of all, I want to give Emily a little bit of love. I've really, over the last couple of years, watched her grow at OKH, and to watch her develop from this shy little sixth grader into really being a leader as an architect in the Morehouse. Just want to give her some love there, because she's really stepped up, and super proud of her, and she'll do great things. So I did want to say that. But at OKH, we do have our Care and Connects in our houses. And for me, what I took away from the reading and all of that was, like Jana said, that whole the character and the citizenship awareness being built into Care and Connect. And so at OKH, one of the things that we look at is how we make this place a home, Old Kentucky home. And so in all of our Care and Connects, we came up with what makes a house a home. what are the qualities that make us feel comfortable? And so, for instance, in my Care and Connect, we talked about feeling welcomed and safe and all of that. And so I think the big takeaway I took from that with me and the relationship that I developed with my boys is that vulnerability with each other. And we were able to develop relationships where they were comfortable with me and I was comfortable with them. And I think when you develop that relationship, you start to see those gifts and those capabilities for what they have in regards to the citizenship and the character and all of that stuff. So just with my boys alone, I saw a lot of them go from didn't want to talk or participate a whole lot into becoming leaders. Or even if they weren't major like leaders leading the class, they were willing to step up and like Emily was talking in the Family Fridays where we compete against each other, they were willing to represent our group because we were bonded in that way. And I think once you start that with kids, it's just there's no limits on what they can do and what they want to do for you.
Hi, I'm Jenny Kidwell, and I teach at Bloomfield Elementary, and I have a different perspective. We have not started our houses yet, but are going to this year, and we have like some really cool ideas, and I actually got some ideas listening to the kids this morning as well. But I think what I have found, we did have family team meetings, which is like your Care and Connect or small groups, and what I saw really there was the relationships and the empathy build, and they took it so seriously, even the younger kids. Like I had a first grade group, and they every morning that we talked, it was just they were quiet. They were respectful of other people talking, but then they were really by the end of the year they were sharing so many things, and so what their little minds were thinking about what was going on in the world and so on. But what I read the book because I have a high schooler, three high schoolers now. But when I was reading, what I really came out from that was that we want our kids not to just be problem solvers, but to be think about what is going to be the problem in the future. And I think that that's something that these families can do when you have that small group. Well, what do you think is going to happen? What are some problems that you see happening in the future? How can we, solve those? So that was something that really stood out to me.
Good morning. I'm Shannon Jones. I teach at Cox's Creek Elementary School. And I want to touch on something that Jenny said, which is so true. The book was talking about how when you pose a problem or a situation, give the student something that you don't already know the answer to, which is so strange. Just in my 9 years of teaching, we were supposed to start out years ago, if you gave them a problem, you already knew what the answer was. You knew exactly how you wanted them to get there, and you should have a model and all these things to lead them in the exact same direction you're going in. And that didn't lead for a lot of creativity. It didn't lead students to be able to use their gifts to solve issues and problems. And Care and Connect, we just started it this year. We took a big bite of the apple and started houses and Care and Connect the same year. But it's pretty cool because in our last Care and Connect, I did a pretend interview with all my students and asked them, what was the best part of your year? And almost every single one of them said Care and Connect. That was the highlight of their week. They looked forward to it. We did it on Friday mornings. And so all week they knew that we were going to connect in that small space. And when you give the kids a situation to connect in such a small, intimate setting, they know that they're loved, they know that they're cared, their uniqueness is going to come through. They're going to feel comfortable. We have a student who got adopted since the NTI process started, and we were planning, a party for him, and just being able to celebrate what makes each of members of our Care and Connect special and unique. So it's pretty special.
Shannon, are you camping?
Funny story. So we sold our house before our new house was finished. So you could call it camping.
Oh, I love it.
We are staying in our camper
at the farm until our house is finished. So
that's great.
this
Well, I
is me
see
and
like
Renee.
the lights, and it looks like you're like on a
It looks like I'm
campsite.
on vacation, but don't let it fool you. The whole family is still asleep in the camper. I didn't want to wake them up, so
Well, Sonia Zelke
yeah.
on YouTube, she said that she loved that you brought the outdoors to us, and I was like, oh wait, she did. Oh wait, is she camping? That's awesome.
It totally looks like we have just started our summer already, but in truth, this is where we live until our house is finished. So hopefully not too much longer.
That's a good way to care and connect with you, Shannon, is to see where you're living right then and there. So
We have definitely connected as a Jones family these last, I don't know how many days has it been. It seems like 400, maybe 8, 9. I don't know.
love it. Love it. All right, Katie, Natalie, what's on your minds?
Well, thinking about what Jenny and Shannon has shared, I think it does. I was taking notes as I was reading, and I think it does take a shift in us as leaders in our building. To believe what the book was speaking about. Believe that we have that children will exceed our expectation if we allow them to not be scared or afraid of the unknown. Instead of that, let them be curious. And I think, as they were sharing about their schools, at New Haven, we are excited about the future with our houses, our little Mustangs, and our Mustangs Matter groups. That's our Karen Connects. We're jumping in next year for all in school-wide with our Karen Connect. So we're excited about that. And we're excited, to allow the time to foster the relationships that everyone else was speaking about, take time to build character in the students, thrive on their creativity and let their gifts emerge from that. So we're excited about that. And the thing that really stood out, like I said, is just believing that they will exceed our expectation if we allow time for that. So we're super excited about that.
Natalie Hurst from Bloomfield Middle School. I think everyone that spoke, it all has infiltrated our schools. And I feel like the deeper learning connection, it talked about finding new ways to ride a bike. And I feel like through all of those relationships that everyone's talked about that have been built and now are a solid foundation, we've really given these kids the confidence to find that new way that before they weren't experiencing. Even if it's 15, 17 minutes a day, that really gives them that nurturing confidence that they're really going to break the mold. So I agree with every single thing that everyone has talked about with our Karen Connects and how much it's really grown to mean for the kids and for the adults.
I just want to give a shout out to Bloomfield Middle because my daughter, she was an 8th grader there when all this happened. And I think because of the Karen Connect and stuff, she had that teacher who was checking on her when we went to virtual learning. She had that connection. And I think that was really a great thing, us not knowing this was going to happen, but those relationships being already built really helped during this.
We love your baby. All of them.
Absolutely. Gosh, those are some great answers. I went over while you guys were talking and was kind of reading through the chat too. And Renee Hedges posted bonding, belonging, and believing in each other, which is really the foundation of what we're talking about. An idea that kids are bonding with adults and each other. They're feeling the sense of belonging, and then they're believing in one another, no matter the differences. So I love that, Renee. Thank you for sharing. And guys, think about this. We're just getting started. We just read Deep Learning this past year, and we're just now kind of putting into action with houses and families and Karen Connects, and then how that infiltrates the instruction that goes on in our everyday classrooms all day long. So this is exciting. This exciting conversation and just the focus around the gifts of people and who we are as human beings. So thank you so much for joining us today. I'm going to throw it back over to Brooke.
I mean, we should have just left it at that. I've never closed out a community brew like so eloquently, Robin McCoy. So anyway, now it's gonna be all awkward. I guess we're just keeping, tradition. So anyway, we will be back tomorrow. Morning at 8 o'clock. We will be doing another full body cardio tomorrow morning at 8 with Jonathan Harrison, wellness leader from Thomas Nelson. And y'all, if you have not taken part in wellness mornings, you need to get up with us at 8 because they are no joke. For real. I will say, after Jonathan's very first workout on the Community Brew, I'm going to give you a plug, Jonathan. I couldn't walk for like 3 days. So I have to like really modify with Mr. Harrison. But it's still really fun and fast paced, and it's a great way to start your day. So we'll see you all tomorrow at 8. And then stay tuned for another panel immediately following at 8:30. So you all make it an impossible day, and we will see you tomorrow at 8.